Hallelujah. We bless your name, King Jesus. Mighty God, we bless your name this morning. We thank you for your goodness, your mercy, your love towards us, oh God, your concern for us. Hallelujah. We bless you and we thank you for watching over us last night as we slept. We thank you for your love and kindness towards us, oh God. If it had not been for you on our side, where would we be? Where would we be? Where would we be? Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah. That we can come boldly before the throne of grace in the time of need, oh God. Hallelujah. We thank you that you stand for us. You love us. Hallelujah. We bless you this morning. We bless you and we thank you. Hallelujah. 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 What a mighty God you are. So Lord, have your way this morning. Say and just flow through me. And I just yield myself to be a vessel for you to use. I just thank you for that. I thank you for this opportunity to serve you in this capacity, oh God. What a mighty God you are. You are faithful and you are true. And we bless you and we thank you. Hallelujah. 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 It's a wonderful place for us to right now put our hands together and bless the Lord. Hallelujah. Come on, now really put your hands together. What a mighty God. What a mighty God. What a mighty God we serve. I just am so grateful and thankful to the Lord for his goodness and for his mercy and for us once again being able to be here. What a mighty God we serve. He is faithful and he is true, and I don't want us to lose sight of that ever. He is faithful and he is true. And he is not a man that he can lie to us. His promises are yea and amen. Hallelujah. And so I just thank God for his goodness today. I think last week I kind of poured out my heart a little bit to you all to just say that I had real moments in the last couple of weeks of just feeling kind of off when I was here on Sunday mornings. Something that was brought back to my attention. Janina Wilson texted me and she said something concerning Sunday, and I was like, oh, right. How could I ever forget that? She said, and my husband said this always, you don't preach to teach or to share, you preach to live. And I just thank God for that quick back on trackness of, oh no, you do what you do. You sit, hallelujah, you sit in his presence. You have moments in his word, and you meditate on his word, and you sit in his presence, and you pray in the spirit, and you worship. All of that is to live. Not to share, not to tell somebody, no, it is to live. It is to live. Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word, everything he's saying. That's how I live. And I just am so grateful for that. Grateful. So today I was, with all that being said, I always come to these moments of just, Lord, what do you want to say? Because I just don't take this moment lightly. I know that this is important. This is just not a place that just, it's not a place for me to share all of my opinions and just, what is the Lord saying, especially in this moment, such a crucial moment that we're living in. And so there that is. We need to hear from the Lord. We need to hear what thus saith the Lord. So So I wrote this down. 1 second. I'm gonna need some water. I see that word. I'll get it back. Matt, 1 second. 1 second. I guess that's why it's live to have those moments. So I was thinking in preparing for today that I am really not a preacher. I'm not a preacher. I am not a teacher per se. I mean, that's just not. There are some people that can just. There's a brother, and I remember my husband always talking about Dwight Knight. He can preach the word of God. Dwight Knight. We have elders in our church. They can just preach, know the word. That was always one of my prayers before the Lord. It's like, Lord, I just, I don't know all that. I'm not. Now, ask me how to get a temperature down in a baby. Or how to calm a baby, Ask me about recipes and stuff outside. There are things that I think I'm good at. I wasn't certain that I could share the word, and that's an honest place. What I think I am is I am an engager. I am a sharer. Put me at my kitchen table with somebody, talking one-on-one. Oh my God, I just have a grace for that, and I know that. I have a grace for those moments. I know how to engage people and connect. I feel like that is what the Lord has used me with. And with that, I know over the years I've had opportunities to really know people's stories, to come in contact with where they are. I love to ask the questions of, so now how did and why and all that. I just love those moments. I wrote down here that I know a lot of you all's stories. I know Elder Menace. I know that Elder Menace, he was on his way to another church, and he comes to Thompson Middle School, and that's how he gets to Dunamis, and he never left after that. I know Kenyatta Appleton has an incredible story of her childhood and growing up. Stories that I absolutely love are to hear how people meet, how married couples came together, how they met each other. I love hearing those stories. I just love hearing people's stories. Elder Linda Diane Harper has some of the best stories, and when you think you've heard them all, she comes up with 5 new ones that you've never heard. She has great stories. Just recently, this week, I hear a story. Katrina Menace mentions a story to me that I just wanted to hear every detail. So that's who I am. I'm an engager. Tell me everything. I want to hear every detail. And so again, with marriages, I love hearing how people met. Pastor Temple and Trina. Pastor Temple worked out at Sundance Shoes. Trina comes in to apply to work there. Pastor Temple goes back in the back and tells Calvin Mathau, I don't care if she can read or write. We are hiring her today. That's Pastor Temple's story about Trina and history. One of the stories I really, really love, and I always tell it, and they don't know I tell this story, but I love their story, is Elder Simmons, who is a construction worker, and he's at a building, he's working on a building for some time, and he sees this lady walk into work every day, and he goes in the building that he's working on to find her. I love that story. Bishop Peacher, I don't know if this just came from Bishop Peacher. You all know Bishop Peacher. His story, when he meets Sister Katie, is he sees her at a party, and he goes up to her and says, let me get your number. Let me get your number. And she says, I am not giving you my number. And he says, yes, you will. Give me your number, girl. And then he said he just kissed her. Just kisses her. And Sister Peter says, after he kissed me, I said, 773-821-4492. Stories, I love stories. Over the years, the Lord has just given me the opportunity to talk to, especially married couples. I've had, a lot of opportunities. Often, when people are kind of having issues and things going on in their marriages, and I just thank God for that opportunity. What I say to people often is, why did you get married? Why did you get married? Why? And give me the details. I often have heard over the years people say, I heard this one brother say, it was just the way she made me feel. She just made me feel like I could conquer the world. I've heard some sisters say, he just brought such security, and I just knew that we could build a life together. He just brought such security. My husband will always say, when he met me, I reminded him of Pastor Temple. I was his best friend. So I've always just loved to hear these things of why. Last week I kind of went through the whole thing about where I had just been, and I thought it was going to be really important us to find out, how do we dwell? How do we dwell? How do we dwell? What does that look like? How do we dwell? I think you all also heard me say for the last 2 weeks, I've just been hearing the Lord say, and he comes to me often in songs, and I've heard the song, slow down, just let me love you. I've just been hearing that. Slow down. Because I think often we get in a rush, move so quickly past things. In my attempt to hear what the Lord was saying, what is he saying about Sunday, I lost what he was hearing, what I was hearing, and what he was saying to me. And I think it's just, again, so important for us to have moments that we slow down. And they're just moments that we just have to just do just that. Really just do just that. Just slow down. I mentioned last week, too, that there are just moments that while we're home, we're not home. I always tell the story, I tell it often, of how there were just moments throughout the years that our garage is attached to our house, and there are moments often throughout the years that I've been home, but out in the garage. I didn't come in because I knew it was going to be some effort into getting in, and just sometimes it was just hard to come come inside. The kids, when they were all younger, homework. It was just sometimes I just felt overwhelmed, and it was easier to stay in the garage. So before we talk about how do we dwell, I want us to get back to why do we dwell? Why is it even important for us to do? Why? Why is it important for us to even try to figure out why and why? I think it's also important, and it brings us back to one of the Sundays that the Lord had us here, and he was asking the question, or really said to us, I needed to bring you home to heal your hearts. There's something that happens in his presence, and I want to read, if you all could turn with me to Acts 17. Why do I even need to dwell? I'm going to start at verse 22. Then Paul stood in the midst of the Areopagus and said, Men of Athens, I perceive that in all things you are very religious. For as I was passing through, considering the objects of your worship, I even found an altar with this inscription, To the unknown God. Therefore, the one whom you worship without knowing, him I proclaim to you. God who made the world and everything in it, since he is Lord of heaven and earth, does not dwell in temples made with hands. Nor is he worshipped with men's hands as though he needed anything, since he gives life to all breath and all things. And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth. I want the entire world to hear that. I want the entire world to hear. He has made from one blood every nation. I just want everybody to hear that. Of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings, so that they should seek the Lord in the hope that they might grope for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. And this is the scripture that I want us to get to today. Why dwell? Why do I need to dwell? Verse 28 says, For in him we live and move and have our being, as some of your poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Why do I need why do I need to dwell in his presence? For it is him that I live and move and have my being. You hear that, Matt?
I hear it.
Not in ourselves, but it is in him. It's nothing that I can do. I need the Lord. It is in him. Why dwell? I heard something this morning, I promise you all. And I wrote it down. I was going to say it at the end, but I think I just want to say it right now. Literally, I hear it coming down the hallway and down the stairs. When you know the why, you'll fight for the how. When you know why are we going up this mountain to, or whatever we're doing, why? Then you'll understand and you'll fight for the how. Oh, this is what we got to do, and I'm going to fight for how to do it. I just heard the Lord say that, just literally coming down the stairs to get started this morning. When you know the why, you fight for the how. For the how. Why do I need to dwell? Because it is in him that I live and move and have my being. This really, and I wrote this down, this really says and gives meaning to the necessity and the intimacy and the power of his presence. It is in him that I live and move and have my being. Nothing better expresses the continual and the necessary dependence that I have on him more than that. In him I live and move and have my being. Without him I have nothing. And can we just say that out loud? Without him I have nothing. But with him I have everything. He has given me all things that pertain to life and godliness. We said this last week, and it was in Solomon said this, that God has made man plain and simple. Oh, but we have made it so complicated. But he has given us all things that pertain to life. With him I have everything. Can we say that out loud?
With him I have everything I need.
Without him I have nothing. I have nothing. Let's turn to John 15, 5 and 4. John 15. Hallelujah. And that says, abide in me and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine. neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. For without me, what? You can do nothing. Oh my God. So I just wanted us to start there. How? Because we said that last week. How do we dwell? How do we dwell? I think we first just need to be clear about why. Without him, I have nothing, and with him, I have everything. Jeremiah 10 and 23. It says, I know the Lord, that the way I know, O Lord, I know, O Lord, that the way of man is not in himself, that it is not in man who walks to direct his steps. Without him, we're nothing. He is our creator. He has given us a reason. Our purpose is in him. I find myself in him. In him I live and move and have my dwelling. Matthew 6, 5 and 6. We can turn there. Again, this morning I just wanted us to get to, and I pray, and I was like, Lord, I pray that I'm able to really get this out. We need you. and we can't bypass and go quickly by our moments in your presence. In talking to people that are married over the years, what I have found is that the major problem is just the communication. I thought you meant this. He said it this way. I thought this. And she always says it. It's just the way we are communicating and how important this communication is. Matthew 6, 5 and 6. And when you pray, you shall not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in synagogues and on the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But when you pray, go into your room, and when you shut the door, pray to your Father who is in secret place. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. I really just want to, and I just pray that it just comes across the way I receive this. Praying in secret is where we encounter him. Dwelling, spending time, engaging in conversation with the Lord. That's how I learn his voice. That's why is dwelling important? That's how I know his voice. That's how I get to know him. That spending time is I know him because I spend time with him. I know his voice. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow. I will say, how am I able to say anything about him? It's because I've been in his presence. I know how he feels about this. I know his plans for me. So when we know the why, we'll fight for the how. When we know why it's important and why. It is in him that I live and move and have my being. It's in the secret place that we can ask questions and we can discover his will. We've said this over the weeks. We've been here several weeks, and we have said this over and over again. One thing have I desired. One thing have I desired, and that will I seek after. That's the simple. God has made things plain and simple. One thing have I desired of the Lord, and that will I seek after, that I might dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. And what is this one thing all for? That I can behold his beauty. He can remind me of who he is and how great he is and how there's nothing too hard for him and no weapon that's formed against me. Why? Because he's made it so. In his presence. So that's why we fight for these moments of trying to be with him and don't let them, and really just don't let it get past us. Don't let us think I'll get to it when I can. I need to know his voice. Just recently, something happened, and I thought about this week and how just I heard him say. Someone had invited me to a party in February, and I was on my way. I was getting dressed, and I hear the Lord. I just clear as day. It was just like, no, don't go. Just the thought of going was like, no, I'm just not gonna go. Later, just so many people got sick from this party. It is so important for us to just know his voice and be able to hear what he is saying, and for us to fight to be in his presence. One thing have I desired, dwelling, spending time alone. That's how our lives become centered around him. And we have to fight for that, because the enemy is going to fight for us not having and to be so all over the place. Gosh, do y'all do that? That's what the enemy fights. He fights for us to be out of his presence. God wants us in his presence, because in his presence there's fullness of joy. Everything that I need is in the, I can just, answers to my life. So no wonder the devil don't want us there. Answers, courage, strength. I personally can know when I just negated these moments with the Lord. I feel I'm all over the place. My emotions are, and I know I need to sit down, slow down. Just let me love. I know those moments when I'm just rushing on the inside. And I've always described myself that way. That duck on the pond, that on the outside, she's just floating along so easy, but up under there, paddling and doing everything possible to stay afloat. When I know why, because it's in him that I live and move and have my being. Matthew 11:28 and 30. I want us to read that as well. Matthew 11:28 and 30. And that says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon me and learn of me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Come to me. Why dwell? Why dwell? This week, today, I just wanted it to be, or I felt it would be different in the sense that I want us to take a moment this week and ask yourself, why? Why dwell? Why do I need to dwell? I wrote this down because, again, just throughout the week, things will come to me sometimes. And I heard the word obligation versus intimacy. Obligation versus intimacy. Obligation means something by which a person is bound or obliged to do, and arises out of the sense of duty. It comes from a custom. They're just accustomed to doing something. That's obligation. Versus intimacy. Intimacy is a close, familiar, and usually affectionate or loving personal relationship. And I just want you to ask yourself the question, what relationship would you want to be in? Matt, think about that. A relationship where somebody says, let me call, because I know if I don't call, obligated. Let me do this for him, because let me go to this baby shower because I just know that I just need. I'm not there. I'm never going to end. That's an obligation. And I am so certain that God is not looking for us to be in a relationship with Him that we feel obligated. Oh, but to love Him and to have this place of, Lord, it is. I don't think I'm going to be able to say that enough today. It is in Him that I live. Oh Lord, I live and move, and I have my being because of You. That's why I want to dwell in Your presence. You are the first thing I think of when I wake up.
Amen.
I think about You all day long, and I go to sleep thinking about You. That is the relationship. We always say that, I say it all the time because, again, I am ooey gooey, and I am a hopeless romantic. I admit it. But, in falling in love, you eat, sleep, drink. Ooh, just to be in His presence. And so y'all know that when you and I feel like we said that one time in the congregation asking about being in love. It's something different than, let me just call. Let me just go be in His presence, because I know that's what believers are supposed to do. You're supposed to pray. You're supposed to go to church. You're supposed to. What kind of damn relationship is that? No. And this week I want that thing on the inside of us, that love to be sparked again, that remembrance. Oh, this is why I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning before the day begins. Oh, to just be in Your presence, oh God. Oh, just to hear Your voice and just to be reminded of how much You love me. For You to set my day, and for You, and then right about whenever the next couple of hours, I just want to talk to You again. Back when I was growing up, for us, we had a telephone in the house, and you knew, I had all sisters, so you knew when there was a new boy or there's a guy that one of us was interested in, because we were on the phone all day. And you would answer the phone. Who is this? Here's so-and-so. He's calling again. Here's so-and-so. You always talk. You just want to be. Love just does that thing. That it pulls you in closer, and you just want to be there. Just want to be. You don't get tired. Obligation is something by which a person is bound or obliged to do. And it arises out of the sense of duty. I just have to. It's another thing on my list of things to do. No, that's complicated. One thing have I desired of the Lord, and that will I seek after. I so understand, being in the midst of these weeks, week in and week out, week in and week out. But now I so see all these, we got that whole miry clay thing. That whole, I need to get y'all back to a place of love. You've lost your first love, that whole thing. That whole thing of arise, get up. He's been saying the same thing to us over and over. And that's what brought us to, why, Lord, why do you keep saying? Because there is something in this place. It's in this place of dwelling with Him that I live. And that's where I move. And that's where I have my being. In Him I live. Live means to have life, remain alive, operate, exist. In Him I live, dwell or reside. And listen to this. Live means to escape destruction or remain afloat. Y'all hear that? I'm going to say it one more time. In Him I live. Live means to escape destruction or remain afloat. In Him I live. That's how I'm able to remain afloat. In Him, in His presence. knowing and learning his voice and understanding, oh, that's him. No. And in this moment where we are right now, we need to hear what he is saying. Where to go, not to go, who to be around, not to be around. All this is right now. We need to hear and know what he is saying, how this thing is going, and how we move forward. In him we live, in him we live and move. Move means to go from one place to another, advance or progress. Move means to keep in motion and action toward one object or a goal. In him I live, that's how I stay afloat. In him I live and move. I know how now to progress and the goals and the things that I should be reaching for. In him I live and I reach and I move and I set goals. And I have my being. Being says exist. In him I have my absolute existence. Listen to being in a complete or perfect state. In him I have my complete and perfect state. So I just wanted to say this morning. I was hoping it would be a nice, quick moment, because what I want to do is allow you this morning for y'all really to have this moment of pressing into his presence and not moving past and not getting on to the next thing, but to having this moment that we settle down and we realize that I need him every hour. And I just wanted us to not move fast. I keep hearing it slow down. Just slow down. Psalms 42:1 says, as the deer pants for streams of water, so my soul longs after you, oh God. Can we just have moments that we just slow down? We live in a place that's like this. We just live with everything. Oh, we just someone just slow down. Why do I need to dwell? He that dwells in the secret place. Secret place? Look up the word secret. Secret means kept from the knowledge of any, and it's only given to the privileged. Do you hear that? No. Secret means kept from the knowledge of any, but for the privileged. He that dwells in the secret. Oh my God. It's a privilege. Hallelujah. It's a privilege. Hallelujah. It's a privilege to be able to be in the secret place that, just, he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow. Do you know how close you have to be under the shadow? I can't be under a shadow way over there. I have to be so up close. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High. This secret place, this place that is reserved for the privileged. So that's what I hear him saying to us, y'all. That's what I just hear him saying. Plain and simple. As the deer panteth for streams of water, so my soul longs for you, God. When I'm clear about why I can't live without him. When I'm just clear, when I'm clear about why, I'll figure out how. I'll figure out how. How do I get it? How do I dwell? I'll figure out how. If I need to get up earlier, I'll figure out how do I need to go and get in my car at lunchtime or here and there. I'm going to figure out the how. Once I am clear. Why? Because it's in him that I live and move. I cannot exist without him. The why, the how am I going to, I'll fight for how. Once I'm really clear about why. When I dwell in his presence, that's where I find safety. That's why. That's why I want to be in his presence. That's why, because in his presence, there's safety. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of Almighty. That's safety. The shadow of the, abide under there's safety in his presence. Why do I need to? I just need to be safe and secure and to feel his presence and to be reminded that it is going to be okay. All is not lost. I have not lost control. Hallelujah. That's the why. I want to read Psalms 91 to us. Thank you, Lord. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shall you take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flieth by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor for the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near thee. Only with your eyes will you look and see the reward of the wicked, because you have made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place, because you are a permanent resident there. Thank you, Lord. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. He shall tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the serpent thou shalt trample underfoot. Because he has set his love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. But the one thing I want to say, it all started with he who dwells. All of those promises, all of what we hear and see the Lord, the promises that he has made us, it all started with he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High. It started there. Spending time. I think the enemy sometimes tries, I've seen the enemy, life, makes it a burden to come before the Lord. It turns into a burden. No. It becomes into the reason I live and move and have my being. That's where, not a burden, not a, I need to just, I haven't spent no time with the Lord. I just, no. It's in him I live and move and have my being. In him I live and move and have my being. And so when distractions come, you can stay focused. You're not who you're focused. When you've been dwelling as a permanent resident, when distractions come, you are focused. because you know him. You've had these moments that he can remind you of his love and his protection and his care. Jeremiah 33:3 says, "Call unto me, and I will answer thee, and show thee great and mighty things which thou knowest not." In his presence, y'all, there's answers. "One thing have I desired of the Lord, and that will I seek after, that I might dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold beauty, to worship, to remind myself he's great, our great God. Mighty is our God. Mighty is our King. Mighty is the Lord, ruler of everything." That's this place of just worshiping and losing ourselves there. And then once I'm there, now I can inquire, and you can tell me about purposes and the places in my life where I need to go, who I am. I want to read finally the scripture that I had last week. It's Philippians 3:10 in the Amplified. And it says, "For my determined purpose is that I may know him, that I may progressively become more deeply and intimately acquainted with him, perceiving and recognizing and understanding the wonders of his person more strongly and more clearly, and that I may in that same way come to know the power outflowing from his resurrection, the power it exerts over believers, and that I may so share his sufferings as to be continually transformed in his spirit." Oh, that's what this is about, y'all. Getting to that why. Why do I press in? Why do I get up and rise early? Why do I read my word? And why do I love people? And why am I forgiving? All those things. Then you come up with how. You come up with how I need to do that. He'll instruct you on how. When you're clear about that why, oh, it's in him that I live and move and have my being. I can't make it without him. I have done that before. I have tried moments, and there have been certainly moments in my life that I think I got this. And I got this, I can do it, And what I'm clear about is no, I don't. No, I don't. It is him that I live and move and have my being. So we're going to pray. This week, I want us to really shoot. Because somebody's going to say, I get up at 5. Somebody's going to say, I read my word all the time. And I'm going to say to you, there is someplace deeper, bigger. You never arrive. We never arrive. And it's such a privilege that we never arrive, because there's always more. As soon as we get clear, there's more. As soon as we understand this, there's more. As soon as we have done, there's more. We never can attain how great is our God. Oh, his eyes are looking to and fro throughout the earth. He's looking for somebody that he can show himself strong. You have no idea. Oh, don't limit him. Don't limit it. Let's just pray. Father, we just thank you. We thank you that you have allowed us to be able, and we have the privilege. You have given us this privilege. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to come into your presence. It's a privilege to be able to worship you and to remember and to be able to cast all of our cares upon you because you care. It's a privilege and an honor that we can come boldly before the throne of grace in the time of need. So Lord, I just thank you, and I pray that you help us in those areas that we feel stuck. Help us to know that, no, you don't want us stuck. You want us planted. You want us growing, and you want us ever reaching for this place in you, Lord, that only you can bring us to. place of peace that passes all understanding. So that's my prayer today, oh God, that as we move forward, the why invigorates us. The why pushes us to your presence. The why, because he's so great. Hallelujah. Because he's given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. And that we press in this why will help us to get to how. Just gotta be clear about why I'm doing this. I gotta be clear that it is in him that I live and move and have my being. For my determined purpose is that I may know him. So Father, we just thank you. We thank you for this time that we've had in your presence, and we bless you. This is a good place for us to put our hands together and bless the Lord. Put our hands together, what a mighty God. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we this week really press towards moments of worship, moments of even writing down and remembering some of the things that he said to us from before and bringing those things back up inside of our hearts. And remembering why I love him the way I love him. Because I so understand that if it had not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? I'm so clear about that. Where would I be? I'm sure Felicia has at this point put up on the screen there how to give, and when we do that, we give and we thank God for what he's given us. We have because he first gave it to us. Thank you, Lord. I don't know if there's anybody that's just on my heart to say, if anybody that just needs and realizes, I've been doing this on my own. I've been trying to figure out my life on my own. This is a real good time to just ask the Lord to come into your heart, to save you, to be the Lord of your life, for him to reign, and that you just give yourself to him and give him your life. Somebody else might say, I've done that. It's been a while. Do it again. We don't have time to be playing. We do not have time to be playing. Get things right with him. Ask him to forgive you and get things right and move in this life that he has prepared. There's a purpose for your life. Everybody's not here. Some people have gone on to be with the Lord. But by the time you're still here, there's a purpose for your life. Let's get to what he has for us. And more important, let's just get to him. Hallelujah. Come on, one more time, put your hands together and bless the Lord. Mighty God, mighty God. The last thing I wrote down, when you know the why, you'll fight for the how. You know why, you'll fight for the how. Hallelujah. One more time, put your hands together, bless the Lord, and we'll see you next week. What a mighty God. There's prayer on Wednesday at 7. God bless you all. I love you so much. Thank God for you. I don't say it enough. How much I just thank God for you all hanging in there. We've been doing this together, and I thank God. Thank God for all of you all. And we are going to. He has not brought us this far to leave us. Let's go see what's on the other side. And I just am grateful to his mercy, his kindness, grateful to the Lord. He's given us all things that pertain to life and godliness. When you know the why, you'll fight for the how. God bless you all. I love you so much. Wonderful Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.